All right, well, I guess that means we are live, and we're doing our first live stream. And I'm not prepared because I didn't move to a quieter spot. So there might be some hammers, some saws, some things like that going on because there's work being done here today. So, hey, everybody, I am Heidzalyn with Austin Entertainment Management. This is Stormy Dog. She likes to crash all of my video work. And I have with me my awesome co-host. This is Mike Graziano, and his musician name is SwearWerds. How you doing, Mike?
Good. How you guys doing?
Awesome. Look how excited Stormy is. She always loves it. As soon as the video starts, then she's like right there. I don't know. All right, well, awesome. So we're changing our format with Austin Entertainment Management. Enough with hearing me talk all the time. I'm going to bring some other voices in on the conversation and show you all the value of having a music community around you and why you want to tap into that. So with that being said, we're going to start today with the topic of you can learn everything you need to know on YouTube. Why this is true, but why you're not always going to get the results that you were hoping to get from that. You ready on this, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that. Some people learn hands-on, you know? It's like you can only watch so much and then you really have to do it yourself.
You said the key words there, my friend. You said, do it. And a lot of you are trying to do it yourself, and that's cool. But there's something that happens when you're working on a big project or something that, you know, other people around you are kind of like, whoa, like, what are you working? Why are you spending time on that? Like, why are you doing that? That can really slow you down and cause you not to do it. Can you relate to that, Mike?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's really like sometimes you know the information, you know what you got to do, but putting it into action, that is sometimes a difficult part. Actually being able to take what you've learned and do it and know how to do it. And I don't know, it can be messy.
I've also noticed one of the struggles that musicians have is finding people to collaborate with and finding people that are kind of like-minded in goals of what you want to achieve. Mm-hmm. I know that in my past experience with bands, I often was in bands with really awesome, great people, but I wanted to reach a certain level with what I was doing in music, and a lot of these people I was jamming with were perfectly okay with just playing once a week in the basement.
Yeah.
And that causes like a level of band drama, if you will. Yeah. Because I would be pulling this way and being like, come on, guys, let's do this. I got us this opportunity. And the one that was content with playing in the basement would be like, I don't know if we should do that or not.
Yeah.
And I would get upset. But the solution to that is finding musicians to collaborate with that are thinking along the same lines of creation and what you want to do. How about you, Mike? Do you have any experience with that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I used to have a band, and it was like 5 of us, and I feel like maybe 2.5 of us were really like wanting to get to the next level, but the other 3 kind of didn't know what they wanted for themselves. And that ended up with like our lead guitarist kicking out the drummer, and then the entire band falling apart from there, because there was just it like left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. There was no communication about it, and it pretty much started the end of the band. So like I feel like everyone being on the same page and knowing what they want is the most important thing, because otherwise you're just wasting time. It's like having a relationship, you know. It's like if you're not dating for a purpose, then why are you dating at all? So like if you guys are in a band and you don't have the same goals or the same plans in mind, then it's not going to work out, because as soon as someone goes a different way, then everything falls apart. You're only as strong as your weakest link.
And so the question comes in then, like, where do you find these people that have like-minded goals to you? And so that's one of the things with tapping into music community and not just being so, I'm by myself, I can do this myself, I can learn this stuff myself. When you reach outside of yourself and start talking to other musicians, you start to really see what other musicians are accomplishing, which is really inspiring, because you might be thinking, I can only do this much. But when you start to see what other musicians that maybe like, you're like, wow, like they're just like me, like they had a background like me or whatever, and you see what they're doing, you start to think, oh, what else is possible for me? So rather than the opposite side of things where you're hanging out with the band members that are like, well, we can't do that, like that's going to be too hard, or not even like trying to think about how you can take that opportunity. You've got people that are going to say, oh no, you got this, like give this a try, we've done it already, like let us give you some tips, let's help you out. And it's a much easier approach to working in the music industry than when you're struggling by yourself.
Yeah.
So we're mentioning what you believe that you can achieve. So I think this is like a perfect segue for me to talk about our meeting that we have on Monday. I've got it here on my background. Wait, it's on this side. On my background here. So with Austin Entertainment Management, we do a weekly, monthly online meeting the third Monday of the month. So that's coming up this coming Monday. And we do it on Zoom. You can go to our website, hellisthebomb.com, and you can sign up and register for that meeting and join us. And in the first 3 meetings of the year, we're going to be talking about mindset, because what you can achieve all starts with what you're thinking about. A lot of musicians are will admit that the one thing that's holding them back, that's keeping them from getting to where they want to be, is they get in their own way. So at the beginning of this year, we want to make sure that people are getting out of their own way and into action and doing the things that they should be doing to create the music experience that they want in their life.
Yeah.
So you've been to a couple of these meetings that we've done before, Mike. What are your thoughts on these meetings?
They're actually super helpful, because there's a lot of things that we talk about in these meetings that you're not thinking about in your day-to-day. And also the amount of guest speakers that we have. Like I think it was last month that we had the business coach, and she was amazing. She really put things into perspective, letting you know that if you're setting goals, that you need to be specific about them. Otherwise, you're kind of just floating around and hoping you get there. It really puts it into perspective that you kind of need to know where you're going in order to get to where you want to be. So even with me, she used me as an example of like, I wanted to get my album released this year, but I wasn't specific about, you know, what time period, what's the date, what am I trying to achieve, how many followers am I trying to get, things like that, which put into perspective for me, like I need to set these goals for myself and have like certain times that I can achieve them so I can set an actual plan towards them. So super enlightening, really, to be able to have access to these meetings and be able to talk to different speakers about completely different wakes of life, and like you utilize that information for yourself, and not just in like your music career or whatever, but in your life. So very beneficial.
Awesome. And yeah, you're talking about Krista Crotty. She came and she talked to us about SMART goals.
Mhm.
And you can look up SMART goals and kind of start working on that yourself. But what's really cool about working with Krista is she's going to look at what you wrote down and go, oh, hey, so this said that you want to release your album by the end of the year. And she's like, which year? 2033? Because that's what your brain is thinking right now. You might not realize it, but it's like, how can I get out of this? How can I get out of this? So being very specific by being like, by December 31st, 2023, your brain is like, oh, okay, seriousness now. We've got a deadline, we've got a
Absolutely.
date, we got to figure out how we're going to get this done on time. So a lot of your language is really going to determine some of the actions that you take. It's what you're telling yourself.
Right.
So yeah, like I really loved that meeting too. That was awesome. So this coming Monday, we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs. So it's going to be the time to throw it all out there. I can't do this because I want to hear your all of your I can't because is what we're going to talk about. And then we're going to address why those things are not necessarily true.
Yeah.
And then I want to tie that all back into this conversation about watching YouTube videos to be able to learn how to do everything. So a lot of people will watch, they'll learn, they'll buy courses. But if you Google like how many people complete a online course that they buy, the percentage of people that don't even start is like shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, people even spent money and then they didn't take the time to log in and actually learn the lesson. And then there's a second group of people, those people learned the lesson, but never figured out then how to implement it and start working it into their own life. And sometimes that comes down to getting in your own way and being like, well, I could never do it as perfect as this person could. And mine's not going to look as good as that. So I'm going to wait to get started. And there's all of this stuff that comes up in your head justifying why you're not going to just do it right now.
Yeah.
So that's one of the failure points by just relying on YouTube to move forward with whatever it is that you want to do in music.
Yeah.
Can you relate to that, Mike?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm definitely one of those people that have taken an online course and like I've done like half of it. And I was like, I don't want this anymore. And I don't know, maybe I made the right choice, maybe I didn't. But I was planning on being like being like a music, not therapist, but someone who plays music at your bedside while you transition to death.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was like a unique job, but it was like a real job. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I can play my acoustic guitar for people who are sick or might need to hear music and stuff. But as I took the course, I realized that like the whole basis of playing music, peacefully is like playing really slow and like learning how to take like normal songs and bringing them down tempos and stuff like that. And for me, it's like that killed me because I like fast punk rock and stuff like that. So like I was like, I can't picture myself like I like it was so difficult for me to do something that would be so simple for anyone else. But like I just wanted to strum fast. And I was like, this kind of turned me off towards the course. And then once COVID happened, I was like, well, now I'm gonna have to get vaccinated to even probably play for these people. So it's like all these limiting things like popped into my head, and then I ended up not doing it and changing course completely.
And that's not a bad thing either.
Mm-hmm.
As you wade into what you're doing with music, there are going to be some things that you're like, this isn't really for me, and some things that you're like, this is what I was meant to be doing with music.
Yeah.
And the only way you're going to figure that out is if you get out there and you start experimenting and you start doing things.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I've heard this concern, if I start doing music professionally, what if I lose my passion for it, my outlet, my creative outlet, and it just becomes like a job and now I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, when this starts becoming like a job for you and you don't like it, change direction. There's tons of things you could be doing in the music industry. You're just not in the right spot.
Mm.
Suddenly you're not happy with what you're doing. And that means that it's up to you then to do a little bit more experimenting and find out what you like to do.
Yes.
For me, I found that playing in a cover band was just exhausting and not nearly as fulfilling as writing and working in the studio.
Yep.
That really satisfies that music itch that I have.
Yeah.
Whereas playing out in a cover band really was a job, and it was fun. It had its moments. There were some really awesome things that I got to do when I was in that band, but um, it was exhausting, and I felt musically burnt out. And it's okay. And
Yeah.
now I have a better idea of how I want to shape my music future based on what actually fills me and gives me energy with music and not the parts of it that drain me.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? Like, let's talk about what you're working on right now. What does SwearWords have in the works right now?
So right now I'm kind of going through that same thing because I do have a song Empress coming out on February 1st. So that whole process for me has been like the only part of music making that's felt like work, because like I really need to do my research and figure certain things out to be able to make sure like my creation is like taken care of the way I want it to be. Like I want to be able to make money from my music. So there were certain things I needed to like put into place. And it was a lot of like late nights and a lot of hours just sitting on my computer and just working at it and working at it and promoting and all that stuff. And still like it's not done. You know, there's still so much to do. There's so much planning to do. But although it kind of feels like work, it's like super exciting at the same time because it's what I want to do. So like anything that I'm doing, it's like it's part of my creativity, it's part of my art, it's my brain that's going into all these, whether it's promoting, whether it's creating a music video or lyrics or whatever I need to do. But it's exciting because it's mine. So like even though there's times that it feels like work, like I could be working for someone else at any point. Like, if I ever quit, it's like all I'm gonna do is work anyway. So I might as well work doing something I love. So there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. So um
Yeah.
that's what I've been dealing with lately. So like I just been trying to stay on top of myself about planning correctly and having a plan for the single while also balancing recording more music. So I don't know. So far, so good. I think now I realize that there was so much more to do, or that I could have been doing for like the past 10 years that I wish I would have known, but better late than never. So it's nice to have some direction in what I'm trying to do with my dreams.
Right.
And that's
So
thanks to
let's,
you, Heidi.
oh, thanks,
You know
Mike.
it.
Well, let's talk about the research aspect of it really quickly.
Mhm.
Researching is kind of exhausting, I think, because you watch a video and you're like, well, what does this person know? Do they really know what they're talking about? Should I really be learning from them? And then, so what's your experience with looking for the right sources for your research as to put your plan into action?
Usually I would say like reviews. I usually go based off of like people reviewing other people's information, or like comments in YouTube videos, or even just like Google searching reviews on things like that. But either way, like everything is going to be a risk. because you never know for sure. Like somebody could just be a really good liar, you could just be falling for something really, but at the end of the day, I feel like just do your research, kind of go with your gut and see what sticks for you. Because I mean, obviously life is trial and errors, so there's going to be mistakes that are made, but it just means that you're going to learn from them. So like, that's how I feel about it right now. Like, this is all new to me. So if I make a mistake, I'm just going to be better with my next release, so learning
Right.
experience. Can't beat
Right.
yourself up.
Yes, there is no failure. You
Hmm.
just learned one way that it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would have to say that I agree with that. I check out reviews of the person, or a lot of my network and my resources that I come across usually come from a referral from somebody, because
Mhm.
I'm very active in networking. So a lot of times somebody will say, hey, you should really talk to this person. And then I go and I check their stuff out. And um, a lot of times, because the people I'm networking with understand what I'm trying to do, they've got a good idea of the kind of person they should be connecting me to, and the pieces of the puzzle that I might be missing, which leads into my next point. I think sometimes why we watch a particular video and then we don't act on it is because we're not at that stage yet. We get our information out of order on how we should be putting things together. So it's kind of like a little beyond like our skill level at this time, but really we should be learning this lesson and applying this first
Yeah.
before we get to this lesson. So trying to figure out from other musicians that have become successful, that are doing the things that you would like to try to do, and finding out what their process was. What kind of
Yeah.
information did they learn first? What did they implement first, second, third, fourth? Because you can't all of a sudden
Yeah.
go from like, I'm doing nothing, to like, I've got all this stuff on every social media page and I've got 10,000 followers. Like none of these things happen overnight. It happens with small, consistent actions. So
Yes.
finding out what those small, consistent actions are, I mean, what order is going to set you up for the best success is what is going to make it a lot easier to get there.
Yes. Yes. It's true. Because like sometimes we just got to put our egos to the side and realize that we don't know it all and we need help. Because that's the toughest thing. It's like you can be so stubborn about it, or you can just like go and seek the information that you're actually looking for. And sometimes we just don't do it. Sometimes we just think that like, nah, like I don't think any other way is going to work, and we get stuck in our ways, and then we end up not growing or doing what we want to do because of that. So yeah.
And it's okay to be vulnerable,
Hmm.
and admit that, okay, I might be a guitar god over here, but I don't know anything about how to get my music to the people that would enjoy what I'm playing.
Hmm. Yeah.
And just opening yourself up to that, and just admitting that out loud sometimes is enough to all of a sudden put it in your conscious space to be like, oh, like all of a sudden I saw this YouTube video pop up and they were talking about specifically that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go with that flow, because you're attracting the right information to you
Hmm.
by admitting what it is that you need for your next
Yeah.
step.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the thing. It's like we as musicians have two options. Like we can pay a bunch of money for someone to figure this stuff out for us and do all that work, and we still don't know at the end of the day, or we can take it upon ourselves, save the money, learn the information, and promote ourselves. And because I know that feeling of like, you just love creating so much, you love the aspect of music, of that you're creating the music, you're performing the music and all that. So when you're hit with that realization that, well, nobody's promoting me unless I promote myself, or nobody's marketing my music unless I market myself or I pay for it, then it's like you hit that fork in the road, and it's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to just throw money towards someone to do this for you, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but not everybody has the funds to do that, especially starting out as a musician. So you can take the other road and learn what you can for now, promote yourself, and then maybe you'll get to that point that you want to be at where someone else is doing it for you. But at least you'll always know, you know. But I feel like it's smart for especially like starting out musicians, low-level musicians to learn marketing for themselves, because that's pretty much all we got now.
And you know, something else that we do within our AEM group is we hook you up with a career strategist. His name is Ed Chang, and he's got this great program called My Career Assist. So when you're just starting out, really with anything, and you're like, you can work with him, and he's going to come up with a one-page strategy with you that helps you go, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, these are my board of directors, these are my people that I can go to hold me accountable to doing what I say I'm going to do, like watch those videos and actually do what's in the video, for example. Or you can go to them because they have a level of expertise, they're a successful musician, they can tell you what the next step is. People like that you want on your board of directors that are always going to be helping to encourage you to grow to the next level. So it'll help you figure out who those people are, and then start making a list. What are the skills that I need to know to be at this top level that I want to be at?
Right.
And so we have that kind of set up with our curriculum with our AEM group, that there's kind of like a yearly 12-month program of which we're going to walk you through the steps of what things you should be knowledgeable about to have a successful music business. What I've realized in becoming an entrepreneur is that becoming a musician at a level where your revenue is enough to support your lifestyle is your success rate is about the same as being a successful entrepreneur. And what makes people successful entrepreneurs is understanding how the game of business works. And when they start applying all of those principles, suddenly it's easier to reach their audience. It's easier for them to express what their value is, what they're trying to accomplish with their business, with their service or product. And suddenly things just come together and the revenue and everything flows. It becomes a process. And for many people, it becomes a process that's duplicatable. And it works exactly the same for the music industry. So if you're thinking about being more than just a hobbyist and being more than just I'm playing in the basement or the garage or at the local bars, and you want to do festivals and you want to tour, or you want to work in a studio, or you want to record things, you want to release music, you want to build a legacy, then make sure that you're not just learning from YouTube, that you've got the accountability of having a community around you. You've got the support of like-minded peers that are going to encourage you, that you can work together with. Having a group of bands or musical artists that support each other online goes a lot further than taking all of your time and trying to promote yourself and not getting any help from anybody else. Do you agree, Mike?
Absolutely. It's really awesome to have a community, especially like AEM, because there's multiple people and different variety of like genres of people to connect with and talk to. So it's important to find your community.
Cool. All right, so we're going to wrap this up for today. So some quick reminders. We have a public Zoom meeting, and we're going to be talking about your limiting beliefs, getting rid of them, and getting you on your way to be doing some big things this year. That's going to be at 7:30 p.m. on Monday. You can go to the Austin Entertainment Management website, which is halisthebomb.com, and sign up for that meeting. And also while you're there, check out our other events that we have going through our partners. We're partnered with the Laws of Life. They have some awesome networking opportunities Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Oh, it's such a good meeting. And if you can't be there at that time, the live stream's recorded, so you can go back and watch that later. They are part of a global vision conference that's coming up on the 21st in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so I'm going to be there. And I want to encourage any of you that are watching, if you're available on the 21st, this is a global vision conference. And there's going to be visionaries all over the world coming to this event to talk about their vision. It's such an awesome environment for you to be in if you have this big vision for what your music is going to create in the world. So for any of you that can make it, I really hope that you join us. I will put a link in the chat so that you can get your tickets for that. And by the way, your ticket helps feed hungry children all over the world and gets them access to popcorn and a movie, because shouldn't everyone have the basics of food and clothes and movie and a popcorn? And that's the vision of Johnny Vision, who's putting on this conference. So that event is coming up that we're talking about. We've got events every week on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So check out our events calendar. A lot of this is on Zoom, a lot's recorded, so there's no excuse to be missing out on this. And if you're interested in joining our AEM Resource Center, you can apply on our website. It's going to set you up for a meeting for me. We're going to talk about your goals and all of that stuff and make sure that you're a good fit for the community. And you'll find out all the details in our appointment. So Mike, do you have any closing comments for today?
Nothing besides follow me on Instagram, SwearWords. Also, Empress comes out February 1st. Do not miss it. Thank you guys for coming. Come again next week.
Yes, next week at 10:30, we will be here. So you guys can check in and comment and stuff, and you can talk to us while this is going on. So yes, we'll be here next week. Hopefully we'll see some of you on Monday evening. And that's it for us today for Austin Entertainment Management. And oh yeah, Mike, you made a good point. Like, subscribe, get notifications for when we're here.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.